Okay, so this video is going to be different from basically the videos I posted so far because this is the first ever movie review. So to kind of explain how this will work, it's actually pretty simple. The first half of it is going to be kind of the review of the movie, a little bit of how I feel about it, and really just very few details. No spoilers. I will mark the zone with no spoilers. Also, the second part of the video will have spoilers. So there is kind of that. I'm going to mark both of them, but just for you to know, the second part of the video will contain spoilers of the movie. So in case you don't want to hear those, just make sure you're paying attention to when that part comes. So with all that being said, what am I going to talk about? Well, first of all, streaming services are like a little bit of a curse and also as a gift. From time to time, they deliver the absolute least shittiest movies you can ever find, and most of the time they are extremely expensive. See Red 1, for example. See, I think it was called Red Alert or something like that, with Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds and all that. Now that I still think about it, most of the time when it's a very expensive movie by a platform that is not in the cinema, it's just streaming, it contains The Rock. And it usually does exactly what The Rock does. It just gets down on the ground and kind of dies there. Because usually these movies are not exactly the greatest movies ever. But from time to time, streaming services do have the tendency to bring one gem and actually never talk about it. I swear to God, I don't know exactly how streaming services do that, but usually when a movie is good, they don't advertise it as much for some fucking reason. And I'm really considering that this movie that we're talking today is one of those gems, because Netflix actually dropped a new Witcher.
No spoiler. You good?
Movie. Now, to be extremely honest with y'all, I did not know a lot about it. Actually, I didn't know of its existence till a week ago when I randomly saw an ad for Witcher animated. I thought, honestly, it's a series. But then I realized that's not a series. It's an actual animated movie. And I was like, okay, I can dig that. I like The Witcher. Also, yeah, for a little background, I am not the biggest Witcher fan. I love the game, the third game. Probably everyone loves it, but I genuinely adored it. I played the DLCs as well, and I'm really into that. I think it's really, really good. However, I have never really been into the TV show, for example. I am a fan of Henry Cavil, don't get me wrong, everyone is, let's be honest. I liked the characters, I liked Yennefer, I did like basically every other secondary character in there, but to be frank with you, it never really got me. I dropped the second season about midway through it, and the third season never got me back. And yeah, I think the rest is history for everyone. It just flopped, okay? The TV show just flopped, and yeah, everyone kind of saw that coming. So I was a little bit weirded out when I saw this animated movie actually, being dropped out of nowhere, at least as far as I knew. Because apparently Netflix did have one of these animated Witcher movies before, actually in 2021. I did not know that. I did not see that movie just yet. I'm going to actually watch it. But to be frank with y'all, I think it's better that I didn't see it, because this one actually got me by surprise and I enjoyed every second of it almost. It's a really, really solid movie. Because as far as the movie goes, right, it's just very good. It's entertaining as hell. Honestly, I did not realize when, the movie ended. Like, I thought it was pretty good. The amount of time, in my opinion, was perfect. I didn't think it overstayed its welcome, and I don't think it was too short. I think it was the right amount of, this is a story, it's got a lot of action, it's really nicely animated, and it looks beautiful. I think The Witcher is always better because it's such a fantasy, a hard fantasy story. I do believe that The Witcher actually goes way better with gaming and animation rather than live action. Live action, to do all the things that The Witcher really has, it's super expensive. You need a lot of CGI, you need a lot of costumes, and usually those things are extremely hard to pull off and extremely expensive to begin with. So animation, it's kind of a better fit for this kind of things. But hey, maybe we will actually get a good live action. Who knows? To be frank, I was impressed with this one. The animation is extremely solid. The choreography and the fight scenes are really good. I mean, I did not expect it to be like this. I'm a big fan of animations, and lately I've watched a lot of like anime and animated movies lately. And I have to say that this one was actually quite impressive. I'm not gonna say it broke any, new grounds or anything, but I think it took something that it was pretty solid at. They knew it was going to be solid, and they just perfected it, which I don't find anything wrong with that. I don't need you to improve animation, because genuinely there's not a lot to improve, but just make it good. And they did, and they have some really nice shots. The fight scenes, again, really cool. And what I liked about them, almost every fight scene has a meaning. I hate when, animated movies usually do this. They will show you a fight scene just for the sake of, fighting, but there's no meaning necessarily behind it. Well, this one has. Every fight really kind of has a meaning behind it. The story is, as I kind of mentioned before, kind of basic. It's not breaking new grounds to begin with. But I do believe it's really good. It's entertaining. It's really solid. You will find it to be pretty similar with some Disney works. If you guys are a fan of the Disney classic movies, you'll probably find a little bit of a similarity between this one and another movie that Disney had. But hey, I'm not here to call, to call The Witcher out for anything. But yeah, they definitely took some inspiration out of some of those movies. Which again, I'm not finding such a big problem with it, because if the movie is solid, hey, it's all the better. Also, I did forget to mention the voice actor for Geralt, and I think that's really, really important. It's the actual actor from the video games. He does reprise his role, and he is actually super, super good. All I can say really about the movie is really good stuff. I like almost all the interactions between the characters. There are some weaklings, I'm not gonna lie to you. First of all, it's the bad guy. So the villain of this movie, you'll see it a mile away. I swear to God. I mean, look, I understand that this could be for like the younger audience, and I'm not saying kids per se, because to be frank with you all, I don't think kids can watch this. It's very bloody, it's very action oriented, and at times it does go, till the limit. I would say that something that I did not really like about The Witcher was the villain and the romance. It really didn't need to be here. I'm sorry. I'm just not exactly enjoying that too much. I did enjoy it in the games because it made sense. Here, Geralt does fall in love with a character. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I mean, it's, to be honest, pretty obvious, and you kind of see it in the beginning of the movie to begin with. But I'm not gonna say it for the sake of it. It's just like Geralt actually falls in love with his character. It had no reason to be perfectly honest with y'all. They actually don't even really fall in love. It's kind of a mismatch. And Yennefer's name is thrown all around this movie for almost just like, hey, yeah, we still know about Yennefer. She's still in our thoughts. She's still in Geralt's heart and all that. But we don't have her in this movie, so you get this. It's fine. So yeah, I thought that part was not exactly the best part. I don't know. It's just not that good. You will find a lot of cliches to begin with. The main romance, though, of the story, by the way, because Geralt is not the main romance, which I kind of enjoyed, by the way. The main one is actually pretty good. I do believe it's pretty good. Again, it had intent behind it. It had a story-driven element to it. Is it a cliche? Yes. Again, you will for sure be able to draw a parallel between this storyline and some, other pretty famous storylines just like this. But no one says it's a bad thing. You will probably figure out what will happen till the end with this couple as well, so it's not exactly the biggest surprise ever. There are characters that, to be frank with y'all, I personally don't even know why exactly they are into the movie. Jaskia is actually a little more useful than I thought he would be, but to be frank with y'all, it was pretty obvious that he had no role whatsoever in this entire movie. So, yeah, I don't really understand why exactly he was even here. Again, no shame, but why don't we just do a Geralt solo movie? Because, I mean, it's not like we don't know Geralt was solo before. He doesn't have to always have a companion. Especially if it's just an animated movie and you don't want, like, you want him to have a little bit of a romance, you want him to, feel like a new character. Why do we have to bring Jaskia here? Why do we have to mention Yennefer? Why don't we do anything, all of this, before all that? Because Geralt is old. He does have a lot of more adventures before that. So why don't we kind of go there? That's something I never really understood with this movie. I didn't understand why this was the direction that they went with. Yeah, at the end of the day, honestly, I think the movie was solid. It had some pretty weak parts, some that I'm not gonna really, talk about right here. I'm gonna go a little bit more into the spoiler part, but yeah, the movie, other than that, is really, really solid. When it comes to, is it a movie or nah? I would say it's definitely a movie. It's a really enjoyable movie, and from a scale from 1 to 10, I would genuinely say this is an 8. Is it a watchable movie? Is it worth watching if you have a Netflix account? Hell yeah. Is it a movie you should make a Netflix account for? I don't really know that. I would say not. Not if you're not a big Witcher fan. Now, if you are, one of those diehard Witcher fans, sure, yeah, you can go ahead and do that, and you will probably find a lot of enjoyment out of this. Again, just because you hear Geralt as, the video game Geralt, it's pretty fun. It's genuinely pretty fun, and, the action is fun. Geralt looks like a badass, and yeah, the movie's really good, so I do believe you should be watching it. Spoiler. Alright, so the spoiler part. I'm not gonna talk a lot in the spoiler because genuinely there's not a lot to dissect for this one. Basically, the story follows a little bit of the principle of Little Mermaid from Disney. It has actually a lot of the for some reason, and that's something I did not mention in the spoiler-free part, is the fact that they have some singing part for some reason. It almost felt like Netflix tries to be the next Disney. Now, again, I haven't watched yet the other Witcher movie, so I don't exactly know if they did it there as well, but I didn't really think it's that fitting. I mean, I know the whole toss a coin to the Witcher is a really good, song, but honestly, I don't think these were strong songs. I don't even think they were worth the time they actually took from the movie. So for the first song, I actually would give it a pass. I'll be like, yeah, okay, I even understand it. It's a little bit of a party. Jaskia will sing, Assi will sing. Assi is Jaskia's friend, and she's a bard as well, apparently. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. That I can actually give a pass. But the problem is the villain of the story, which again, you will see from a mile away. Actually, they don't even try to hide it. The first scene, the literally first scene, you see the mermaid's auntie. So the story basically follows a little bit of a Little Mermaid combined with Romeo and Juliet, basically. The idea is this underwater city, Atlantic people, basically want to go to war with humans because they believe humans are starting to surpass their, their ground. They start actually hunting more and more of their creatures, and they're not cool with that. Now, the humans king, the ones that actually hunt these fishes, his son is in love with the, king, the mermaid king's daughter. I know it's a little bit, I forgot their names, to be frank with you all, so I don't exactly name them. They have to try to stop this war between them. And it's this very complicated love thing. Now, again, this is the main romance of the movie, and I personally enjoyed it. I think it's actually well done for a lot of the parts. Now, there are some kind of parts that fall a little bit flat. There are some parts where they try to be very dramatic, and like the daughter of the Mermaid King at some point, for some reason, doesn't trust the prince anymore. Of course, the prince always also kind of does that. Out of a sudden, he kind of becomes a dick, even though he knows it's his people that are basically the problem. He still kind of is a dick to his love, so it doesn't really add up. It's a little bit of a, you have to admit it, you have to kind of let it pass. But yeah, other than that, genuinely, I think it's a pretty solid story. But another thing that I have to say, because the reason I compare it so much with The Little Mermaid as well, it's because there are some scenes that I swear to God, they just copied it 100%. Remember I talked about the second song that I hate, and I genuinely think that one shouldn't have even been in the movie. It's when the villain, the aunt of the princess, actually started singing a song, and I kid you not, the whole premise was the fact that the princess went to her to ask for like an advice, what to do with with her love. She didn't really understand what she should do, and then the aunt comes with this. She's apparently like a witch, and she can do all the spells to shapeshift. So she creates a potion that she can give to the princess so that she can actually become a human. Now, she wants to give that potion to her, but for that to happen, she would have to basically give up on her life there. Which, if you did watch Little Mermaid, it's exactly what Ariel basically has to give up on. Well, she also had to give up on her voice, but the point is, it's one-on-one the same thing, and to actually make that, to draw the point home, they made a song. Right after they did that. Like, literally, that's exactly what happened in The Little Mermaid, at least from what I remember. Now, my memory is a little foggy, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. I think the Ariel was given the potion, if I'm not mistaken, and then the villain actually starts singing her song. It's happening the same here. Only that song from Little Mermaid was memorable. This one is shitty. Actually, it's really bad. I hated it. The king is, in my opinion, just a little bit of a bitch. He's genuinely shitty for almost no motherfucking reason. He's just an evil being to be an evil being. Now, what I love about it, though, with all that being said, is the fact that he did not have a redemption arc. So, I hate when these movies basically take these characters that are clearly flawed, right? And they just take them and do nothing with them. And because at the end, they become like good guys. They realize, oh, I fucked up. I'm sorry, kid. Here, I will actually like this girl now, and you can be with her, whatever you want. The king never wanted that. The king was still against it. The king barely wanted people to know that his son will be married to a sea creature. More than that, the king was very forceful of the fact that his son has to stay human and she has to be the one that becomes human. Otherwise, this cannot happen, and we go to war again. But that did not happen. The prince tricked him, and everyone there saw that it was his choice to become the mermaid. So it's just like, okay, I kind of get it, and I enjoyed it. The king was, from that point, still hating on his son, which I'm like, oh, that's pretty shitty, and it finally is not like a redemption arc. He just is a shitty king for the fact that he is a shitty king. That's it. Also, one of the other things I didn't really like, and I did say that, in a free spoiler part, is the fact that, Geralt and Essie are a thing for some reason in this movie. I don't really understand. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Essie, and I really love everything about her, which, by the way, I think she had a downgraded look. She looked so much hotter in the beginning of the movie. So Essie was so good looking, with a whole long hair covering an eye and all that. And they did almost a Sakura one-on-one. She was caught by the hair, she cut her hair, and then she went fighting, which I understand it's like the empowerment and all that, but honestly, it might be just me because, you can kind of see it already. I'm a big Naruto fan. For me, that's just a Sakura moment, and if you do know anything about Naruto, it's that Sakura's not the brightest star of that sky. Okay, so there's that. But yeah, they have this romance that it was obvious is gonna go nowhere because Geralt even dreams about Yennefer, talks about Yennefer in the beginning of the movie for a long time. So it was so obvious nothing will happen. I just don't understand what they were doing. I don't understand why they were so keen on even having this there, because it was obvious that, it's not a thing. And they will, they actually do sleep together at the end of the movie, and it makes no sense because it's like they sleep together, they then wake up, and she's like, yeah, I know you cannot be with me. And he's like, yep, And that's it. Then they leave. And to me, it's just like, then why? Why did you do all that? Because to begin with, she's Jaskia's friend. She has nothing to do with Geralt. However, the entire movie, they act as if they knew each other for a very long time, and she and Jaskier barely talk. I don't really understand what's up with that, genuinely. But yeah, that's, a thing that I didn't really like it. However, again, the movie is really solid. Action and animation. I think those are the two things you will go for this movie. You'll go to see this movie for, and I will guarantee you will have a great time because of it. Even the movie clearly knows it. The movie knows that its strong point, and it very much inclines on that side. Okay, a lot of the movie is action based, and the animation is pretty as hell. So I do recommend you this movie. Go on and see it, and yeah, just have a great time. Tell me also if you did see this movie. Did you enjoy it? And if you did not see this movie, do you even consider seeing it? And that's kind of it. Until the next movie review or gameplay video or whatever else I think about doing, I thank you so much for, showing up here, watching this video, and, if you actually did stay till the end, subscribe, leave a like, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's kind of it. Bye. I don't know what the fuck I did. I genuinely don't know what the hell that was. It's, yeah, whatever.